Oh, what a day it is. Right here in Ocala, Florida, I'm Jonathan Morris Schwartz, and welcome again to my daily program. Today's newsletter in Substack is entitled Governor Cuomo, Old Guys and Young Girls. I'm going to work this backwards a little and tell you my conclusion first and then dig deeper into some of the details. First, I do believe that Governor Cuomo will try to serve out the rest of his term. I do not think that he's going to run again in 2022. The only caveat would be if the press in this culture, this sort of woke cancel culture, hounds him to the point where every news conference, he can't get anything else done because every question is related to his personal life and this scandal. That might hound him out of office. But I think he's really going to try to split the baby, pull somewhat of a King Solomon, and serve the rest of his term and then leave with dignity. I also think, and this hasn't been discussed very much, his affinity, his affection, his attraction to younger women is not going away. You know, we oftentimes feel like people, quote unquote, learn their lessons. Well, the key lesson is if you're the boss, particularly if you're the governor, someone who has power, real power, you have to be very careful and should be very careful about not only behaving in a flirtatious way with any of your subordinates, but even the appearance of flirtation. Because if we've learned anything, particularly the past few years, it's that men and women can't and shouldn't try to separate themselves from being the boss, particularly at work. If you're the boss, even if you think you don't have any real power, or you think you're not going to hire and fire people, you're the boss. What you say matters. How you appear to your superiors matters. Your opinion matters. Your power is real. Now, effectively, you know, when Governor Cuomo says he was kidding, it was in jest, that he's a friendly, kissable guy, this is important to acknowledge. It so happens that the women thus far, 30, 40 years his junior in age, declined, rebuffed him, did not allow the advances to proceed. But does anyone for a minute believe that if any of these younger women, particularly the 25-year-old for whom it is alleged he asked whether she liked or enjoyed or had any interest in having sex with an older man, does anyone believe for a minute that if the young lady had said, oh yes, I am indeed attracted to older men, and you're very attractive, and I do like to have sex with older men, does anyone believe that the governor at that point would have said, oh, what an interesting point of fact, have a nice day? No, I mean, I don't think it stretches credulity to think if indeed some of his advances were looked upon favorably, that he would have attempted to proceed with them. And then you can get into the debate as to what if it was outside of work. I mean, he has the legal right, as any man of any age over 18, to date anyone he wants over 18. Some states 16. So it's not illegal, and perhaps not even unethical, for the governor or any man in his 60s to be attracted to much younger women, to seek out much younger women, and should he find a much younger woman who wants to date him, to do so. And that's the point I think people are missing. He likes younger women. Once you've swung that bat, you continue to want to swing that bat. And I am predicting that, as governor or not, he is single. I am predicting today, March 4th, 2021, that the governor will indeed end up dating and perhaps even marrying a much younger woman. That's his right. Not in the workplace, though. I have tweets from last year expressing. I say I have tweets because I want to prove I'm not a Johnny-come-lately on this. But when the pandemic last March, April, May, June was inflamed, particularly in New York, the over-the-top worship of Cuomo, the fact that the network, CNN and MSNBC, almost every day, for a while every day, gave him an hour, hour and a half to wax poetic about meatballs and spaghetti sauce and his daughter's contest of this and the mask. And it was cult-like. I mean, here we were not understanding why so many people were treating Trump like a cult and worshiping him and letting him get away with everything. The truth is, and this really is hard to wrap your head around, many people were treating Governor Cuomo in this godlike, can't do no wrong, walking on water manner, when a few of the journalists, to be fair, said, he does have a history of being a bully, he is known for strong-arming people, he does play tactics that are mobster-like, but look at him now. Look at him now. He's our guy now. And it was just, it was insane. And I think, I don't care how measured or how down to earth the governor tried to be, or how his family, his mother and others probably said to him, look, don't let this go to your head. His brother would tease him about, how he thought he was a hot shit now. I don't care how much he tried. There's no way that the governor would not have that go to his head and believe that he was able to use this newfound king of the pandemic kind of persona to his advantage with women whom he's attracted to, which is clearly much, much younger women. Again, that's his choice, not on the workforce. This is another aspect that a lot of men and women don't discuss. I'm willing to go there. I'll be 55 in July. When I look in the mirror, do I see a 55-year-old sometimes? Do I see a 70-year-old sometimes if the light catches me wrong or I'm, wrong angle? Do I sometimes see someone who might be in his late 40s, maybe? Maybe it's wishful thinking. But I never see a 25-year-old. I never look in the mirror and say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Me! I don't have a delusion in that sense. But I think it's fair for every man, and I presume women as well, to admit that just because we're in our 50s or 60s or 70s doesn't mean we stop finding young men and women, even very young men and women, over 18, attractive. That's natural. And we should be able to own that. We should be able to have two schools of perception and thought. One, yes, that I'm going to be 55 and that 25-year-old is attractive and cute and smart and funny and I enjoy being with her, but I'm 30 years older than her. And therefore, the odds, the statistics, the smart way of going about anything other than a quote-unquote friendship doesn't make any sense. I wonder whether Governor Cuomo has some sense of delusion when he looks in the mirror. Does he see a 63-year-old man? Good-looking guy, he's in good shape, but he is 63. Is that what he sees? Or has he deluded himself to believe that he may be 63, but in every other sense, he's forever 30? And if that's the case, maybe he does believe that the age, his proper age range is 25 to 35. To summarize, Governor Cuomo thinks he deserves and is desired by women 40 years his junior. He, as friendly as he may be, so far there aren't that many 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old women coming forward claiming that, he grabbed their bare back and kissed them on the lips and asked if they like having sex with men of certain ages. It seems to be a pattern of women in their 20s and early 30s. So that's a fact. That's okay. Let me say that again. Outside of the workplace, Governor Cuomo has the right to flirt with and engage with any woman as long as he derives consent and isn't rude or breaking any laws. He has the right to flirt and date whoever wants to flirt and date with him. Number two, New Yorkers, and I lived in New York for 7 years. I love New York deeply. There was no other place I enjoyed living more in terms of excitement and culture and breathtaking living and media. But you guys pumped his ego up to stratospheric levels. I mean, are we surprised that he was feeling his Wheaties? Are we surprised after we effectively worshipped him in that manner that he didn't think he could have whatever he wants? It's not our fault, but we did prop him up. Whatever used to be tolerated in the workforce, we see movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. We see shows like Mad Men and others where it was okay to grab and pinch women's butts, and it was okay to have a 3-martini lunch, and flirting was part of it, and it was just the culture. The culture has changed. And while it was always wrong, it was accepted. Now it's wrong and it's not accepted. And whether you're a man or woman, if you're a celebrity, if you're a boss, if you're in a position of power, you have to have that filter in your brain that says, yes, this man or woman, young or old, frankly, seems to be interested in me sexually or in a flirtatious manner, and consent seems to be possible, but is the power differential a point where it either is or could become abusive, or even perceived as such, as difficult as that is to try and filter? And finally, my prediction that Governor Cuomo will try very hard not to resign. It seems like that to him would be a very depressing defeat, a shameful act. So I think he's going to try very hard, no matter what this investigation comes out with, to beg, borrow, plead to stay in office. And it may be that part of that deal is agreeing not to run in 2022. He served 3 terms. And he has a lot of accomplishments, and there's a lot he can do outside of politics, and he could run again sometime in the future, but I don't think he's going to run again in 2022. And finally, as I mentioned prior, I do not believe he's going to stop dating or wishing and wanting to date young women. Look over the next 6 or 12 months for him to reveal a girlfriend or in a relationship, or have a relationship with a woman much his junior, not so much to normalize it, but because that's his desire. He's an old guy who likes young girls.